Hello students, in this video we will study some theorems based on dimension of vector space, linear transformation and linear operators. So the first theorem states that suppose X is a vector space and dimension of X is equals to n, then a set E of n vectors in X spans X if and only if E is linearly independent. Then the next condition is X has a basis and every basis contains n vectors. Third is if 1 less than r less than n and a set y1, y2, yr is a linearly independent set in X, then X has a basis containing this set. So we will start with first one. So let X be a vector space of dimension n as given. So as in first E of a set E of n vectors is given. So let E is equals to x1, x2 up to xn is a set of n vectors of X. Now since dimension of X is n, then this set x1, x2, xn with a element y, that is set x1, x2, xn with an element y, that y belongs to X, this will become linearly dependent for every y belongs to X, because the dimension of X is n and any other element of X added to this set will make this set linearly dependent. Now suppose that E is linearly independent, but this set x1 up to xn y is linearly dependent. Therefore y can be expressed as a linear combination of these previous elements, that is we can write y as c1 x1 up to cn xn, because this set is linearly dependent, and so we can write this y as a linear combination of this previous elements. Therefore this implies that this y is in span of E, but y belongs to X and this y is arbitrary, that is any element of X. Therefore this implies that the set E spans X. Now conversely we have to prove that if this set E spans X, then this set is a linearly independent set. Now conversely, suppose that the set E spans X, and we have to prove that E is linearly independent set. So first we will assume that E is linearly dependent. Now since E is linearly dependent, one of the element of E can be expressed as a linear combination of its previous elements. So if E equals to x1 to xn minus 1 xi becomes LD, we can write xn as a linear combination of this previous vector. But if we do so, the counting of this set will decrease by 1, and this contradicts to the hypothesis that dimension of X is n. So this our assumption that E is a linearly dependent set is wrong, and hence we can say that E is linearly independent. What we have considered here? First we have considered that E spans X. We have to prove that E is a linearly independent set. Then to prove this, we first assume that E is a linearly dependent set. Then if E is a linearly dependent set, then one of the element of this set can be expressed as a linear combination of other elements. But this contradicts the hypothesis that dimension of X is n, and hence our assumption is wrong. This set E is a linearly independent set. Now we will move to the second condition. Second condition is X has a basis and every basis contain n vectors. Now since dimension of X is equals to n, this X contains sets of n vectors which is linearly independent. As the dimension of X is n, X will contain sets of n vectors which is linearly independent, and every such set will contain, every such set will have n vectors, and therefore we can say that every basis of X contain n vectors. Here the second condition is also proved. Now the third one. In the third condition it is given that for 1 less than r less than n and the set y1 up to yr is Li in X, and we have to prove that X has basis containing this set containing y1 up to yr. Now let B equals to x1, x2 up to xn be the basis of vector space X, with the basis of X. Now if we consider a set S like x1, x2 up to xn, and so add some extra elements like y1, y2 up to yr, then surely this set will become linearly dependent. Now as soon as it become linearly dependent, we can state that one of the element of this set can be expressed as a linear combination of other elements. So if we consider that xi is the element which can be expressed as a linear combination of other element, so if we remove this xi, then we get a set S dash with suppose x1, x2, xn minus 1 and y1, y2 up to yr, as total number of elements of this set is n minus r. And if we go on removing these xi which can be expressed as a linear combination of this element of the other element of this set, then we can repeat this process r times, so that total rxi will be removed from this set as to obtain n elements which will make this set Li. That is, only n elements will be remaining in this set and the set will become Li. So then we can say that this basis X contain this set, contain the set y1 up to yr, and hence proved. All the three statements have been proved. The next theorem is, the statement is, a linear operator A on a finite dimensional vector space X is 1, 1 if and only if the range of A is X. So proof. As given, we have a finite dimensional vector space X. So let dimension of X is n and A is a linear operator. We have discussed the definition of linear operator. Linear operator is a mapping A from a vector space X to X. So here A is a linear operator on this finite dimensional vector space X. As the dimension of X is n, B equals to B1, x1 up to xn will be the basis of vector space X. And this A is a linear operator on X. So let R of A be range of this linear operator A. Now first, if this linear operator A is 1 1, then the range of A is X. So suppose A is 1 1, then we have to prove that R of A is equals to X. Now since this A is a linear operator and A is linear, its range R of A is a vector space and it is spanned by a set, say C, A of x1, A of x2 up to A of xn. This set C spans the range of this linear operator A. So by theorem, R of A equals to X if and only if C is linearly independent. Therefore, we will prove this C is linearly independent set, and if this set become linearly independent, then that implies that R of A is equals to X. So now we prove that C is Li. So we consider a linear combination of the elements of C equals to 0. That is, say C1 A x1 plus C2 A x2 plus up to so on plus Cn A xn equals to 0. So now since we know that A is a linear operator, as A is linear operator, A of Cx is C of Ax. So using this we can write A of C1 x1 plus A of C2 x2 plus up to so on A of Cn xn equals to 0. Also we know that A of C1 x1 plus C2 x2 equals to C1 A x1 plus C2 A x2. So A of, as A is linear, C1 x1 plus C2 x2 plus up to so on Cn xn equals to 0. Now since A is linear operator, A of 0 equals to 0, because a linear operator maps the 0 element of one vector space, that is domain vector space, to 0 element of the codomain vector space. Now using this we get, now this from this we can write that A of C1 x1 plus C2 x2 plus so on Cn xn equals to A of 0. Now as A is 1 1, we know that A of xy equals to A of y implies that x equals to y. This is the condition of 1 1. Therefore here C1 x1 plus up to so on Cn xn equals to 0. Now since this x1 x2 up to so on xn are the elements of basis of the vector space X, and it is Li. B is basis of X, and as it is basis by definition, it is Li, and from this implies that all these scalars C1 up to Cn are 0. This implies that the elements of C, that is Ax1 up to Axn, are Li. Implies that C is a Li set, and hence R of A is equals to X. Now conversely, it is given that R of A equals to X, and we have to prove that A is 1 1. Now since R of A is equals to X, R of A equals to X, this implies that the set C AX1 up to AXN is a Li set. Let X belongs to the vector space, and we know that B is a basis of vector space X. Basis of vector space X. Therefore, X can be expressed as a linear combination of elements of B. Therefore, X can be expressed as A1 X1 plus up to so on AN XN. Now, suppose that capital A of X equals to 0. Suppose that A of X equals to 0, this implies that A, and we know that X is A1 X1 plus up to so on AN XN equals to 0. Now since A is a linear operator, A of 0 equals to 0. Therefore we can write A of X1, A1 X1 plus up to so on small AN XN. Instead of 0 we can write A of 0. Now since A is linear, A1 A X1 plus up to so on AN AXN is equals to 0, and this AX1 up to so on AXN are the elements of the set C, and C is a linearly independent set. Therefore all this scalar A1 A2 up to AN are 0. This implies that X equals to A1 X1 plus AN XN equals to this, substituting this scalar as 0, we get 0 X1 plus up to so on 0 XN equals to 0. Therefore AX equals to 0 implies that X equals to 0. Now consider AX equals to A1, implies that AX minus AY equals to 0. Now since A is linear, we can write A in bracket X minus Y equals to 0. Now from this condition we can write X minus Y equals to 0, because A of X equals to 0 implies that X equals to 0. Therefore A of X minus Y equals to 0 implies that X minus Y equals to 0. Now this again implies that X equals to Y. Therefore AX equals to AY implies that X equals to Y, and hence we can say that A is 1 1, and hence here this theorem is proved. Next is the definition of a vector space L of xy. If x and y are the vector spaces, then we denote L of xy as the set of all linear transformation from vector space X into Y. That is, all such transformation, suppose A is a linear transformation from X to Y, then all such transformation will be collected in a set L of xy, and this L of xy is a vector space under a vector addition and scalar multiplication. As if we consider two linear transformation A1 A2 belongs to the set L of xy and scalars C1 C2, then C1 A1 plus C2 A2 operating on X, we get C1 A1 X plus C2 A2 X, and this implies that this becomes the linear transformation, that is C1 A1 plus C2 A2 becomes the linear transformation, and it belongs to the set L of xy. Therefore this L of xy becomes a vector space, and also it contains the zero, that is identity transformation, and therefore this becomes a vector space under this vector addition and scalar multiplication. Now if we consider, that is L of xx, that is set of all linear operator on x, this will also become a vector space. Now the next is norm of linear transformation. If we consider a linear transformation, say A belongs to L of Rn Rm, this L of Rn Rm is the set of linear transformation from Rn to Rn. Therefore the norm of this linear transformation A is denoted by this symbol and is defined as lowest upper bound for x belongs to Rn mod of Ax for mod x less than 1, less than or equals to 1. The properties are mod of A of x is less than norm of A mod x for x belongs to Rn. This is the first property, and second one is mod of Ax is less than m mod x for x belongs to Rn, implies that norm of A is less than m. Next is the theorem based on norm of linear transformation. Here, if A is a linear transformation belongs to L of Rn, that is A is a linear transformation from Rn to Rm, then first we have to prove that norm of A is less than infinity. Second one, that A is uniformly continuous. So let A belongs to L of Rm. Suppose that E1 up to En is standard basis of Rn and x belongs to Rn such that mod of x is less than or equals to 1. Then as this E1 up to so on E2 En is the standard basis of Rn, this x belongs to Rn can be expressed as a linear combination of these vectors. Therefore x1 can be expressed as C1 E1 plus up to so on Cn En. We know that E1 is 1 0 0 plus up to so on Cn, and En will be as 0 at the nth position, 1 at the nth position and 0 elsewhere. So x we get C1 C2 up to Cn. Now since mod of x is less than or equals to 1, implies that mod of C1 C2 up to Cn is less than 1. This implies that mod of each Ci is less than 1 for I 1 to n. Now we consider mod of Ax, implies that Ax is C1 E1 plus up to so on Cn En. This becomes, since A is linear, we can write it as C1 A E1 plus up to so on Cn A En. Therefore we get mod of C1 A E1 plus up to so on Cn A En. Just we have separated the mod. Then we get, taking this constant C1 outside, we get mod of C1 mod of A E1 plus up to so on mod of Cn mod of A En. Now we know that each Ci is less than 1, so we can put here 1 instead of C1 and instead of all this C1 up to Cn. So 1 mod of A E1 plus to so on 1 mod of A En. So therefore we get mod of Ax less than mod of A E1 plus up to so on mod of A En. So this whole expression is less than is finite and hence less than infinity. Therefore, mod of Ax is less than infinity. So by definition, lowest upper bound of x belongs to Rn and mod x also less than 1. Mod of Ax is less than infinity, that is norm of A is less than infinity. So here first part is proved. Now in next part we have to prove that this A is, in second part, to prove that A is uniformly continuous. So next we consider that mod of Ax minus Ay. This implies since A is linear, we can write it as A in bracket x minus y. This will be less than, by result, norm of A in mod x minus y for all xy belongs to Rn. Now for given epsilon greater than 0, we choose delta such that epsilon upon norm of A. Therefore, mod of x minus y less than delta, or mod of x minus y will be less than epsilon upon norm A. Then from this we can write mod of Ax minus Ay less than norm of A, and instead of mod of x minus y, which is less than epsilon upon norm of A. This implies that mod of Ax minus Ay is less than epsilon for mod of x minus y less than delta xy belongs to Rn and epsilon greater than 0. This implies that A is uniformly continuous. A is uniformly continuous mapping, or A is uniformly continuous linear transformation, and hence this theorem is proved here. In next video we will again see some theorems based on this norm of linear transformation, and also we'll start with the new article which is open set and continuous function. Thank you.